Welcome back to the channel, Watchdogs. Remember that walking lawsuit machine I covered a while back? Yes, our old buddy, Lieutenant Furman, fired, charged, and acting like a WWE reject with a badge. Well, guess what? The plot thickens. Turns out the red flags were waving years before his grand finale, back in 2016 when Furman was just a humble corporal with delusions of grandeur. A former Melvindale chief tried to fire him, like any sane person would do when you realize you've got a psychopath in uniform. But nope, city council swooped in like Furman's personal fan club. Why? Because Mr. Corporal Red Flag was the city's golden goose, towing cars, raking in cash, basically a one-man ATM with a badge. And instead of protecting the people, the council protected their revenue stream. The chief got canned for blowing the whistle, while Furman got promoted up the food chain until, surprise, surprise, his behavior finally caught up to him. So before we dive into my interview with that whistleblowing chief who tried to warn everyone, do me a favor. Smash that like button, subscribe to the channel, and ring that notification bell so you don't miss the rest of this circus.
He was a police chief who tried to fire a controversial cop years before he was at the center of stories by the 7 investigators. So why did he lose his job instead?
Tonight, that former chief is breaking his silence, telling 7 investigator Ross Jones why he believes city leaders ignored his warnings about an officer now accused of breaking the law.
Some people should be cops and some people should not. And clearly his behavior over the course of the last 9-10 years hasn't gotten better. It's escalated.
Melvindale Police Lieutenant Matthew Furman is off the street today, suspended without pay after being charged over 3 alleged assaults from the last 4 years. They all could have been avoided, according to this former Melvindale police chief, who said he tried to take Furman's badge nearly a decade ago and lost his instead.
Right is right and wrong is wrong.
Chad Hayes chose to break his silence after hearing recent comments from Melvindale's city attorney, Larry Coogan, decrying the actions of Furman and others.
When you look at these videos of the conduct that took place by some of these officers, it's reprehensible.
He's upset because the body cam reveals all these actions and people are seeing all these actions. He didn't care about the exact same actions 9 years ago that weren't on body cam.
To understand how we got here, you need to go back to 2016. That's when Chad Hayes was Melvindale's police chief and Matthew Furman was a corporal, towing lots of vehicles and racking up plenty of citizen complaints.
I couldn't go into the number of complaints that he generated from traffic stops. Dozens and dozens of complaints.
In 2016, Furman would be accused of assault twice. In June, he would detain a robbery suspect who said Furman slammed his head into the police car while he was handcuffed. A lieutenant reported he witnessed this and told the man he would not sweep that incident under the rug. Another officer there said under oath that Furman went way over the line and split the man's head open. Furman claimed the man injured himself. The following month, Furman would be accused of using excessive force when he tackled a man to the ground that a fellow officer said had been completely cooperative.
Veteran officers and newer officers in both occasions come forward and like, this is wrong. Those actions were wrong.
Chief Hayes would notify city leadership, including Larry Coogan, that he was suspending Corporal Furman without pay, saying he wanted to terminate him or have him appear before a trial board.
5 days after I formally requested to terminate him, they suspended me pending termination.
At a hearing, the city would accuse Hayes of a litany of misconduct, including violating the city's social media policy, using profanity to describe other city officials, providing false statements to the Public Safety Committee, and improperly issuing discipline on Matthew Furman. Hayes denied it all.
Why did they want to keep Furman so badly, in your view?
He makes them tens of thousands, if not hundreds of thousands of dollars a year, every year, in the tow fees. They were making a ton of money by him towing cars.
According to court records, Furman was responsible for nearly 80% of the tows in the entire department. In fact, when Furman was off on vacation, the city saw towing revenues plummet. At a public meeting, City Attorney Larry Coogan took note. The reduction in tows means a reduction in revenue for the city, he said, according to a transcript. We're still in a deficit elimination plan, and that concerns me. I mean, I don't think anybody wants the state of Michigan coming in. So after the city's top revenue generator was suspended and faced possible termination, Hayes said the city fired him and kept Furman.
How do you respond to being terminated tonight?
It's been an honor to serve the citizens of Melvindale, and I look forward to my future.
He gave proper discipline that maybe, just maybe, would have stopped what we've now recently seen had somebody actually cared about the truth.
In the years that would follow, Furman would face more assault allegations, charged in 2019 when a man claimed he threw him down a flight of stairs. Furman denied it and pled no contest to neglect of duty. He'd be charged over this 2021 stomping of a man who led police on a high-speed chase, and over 2 separate tasings 3 years later, one of a mother outside her daughter's school, and another of a man who drove with a suspended license. Furman has denied any wrongdoing. Larry Coogan would not agree to an interview for this story, so we caught up with him at a recent city council meeting.
Why in 2016, when the city tried to fire him the first time, wasn't Matthew Furman fired?
You'd have to ask the former chief and the subsequent chief.
I'm asking the city attorney.
And I'm going to give you the same answer. I'm not going to change it. You'd have to ask the city chief of police.
Coogan says keeping Furman had nothing to do with generating revenue, and he said firing Chief Hayes was the city council's idea, not his. Nicole Barnes was city council president back then and wanted Furman to keep his job. Now Nicole Shkira, she is the city's mayor.
As somebody who tried to make sure Matthew Furman kept his job in 2016, were you wrong to do that?
I can't really say yes or no to that.
She declined to answer most of our questions about Furman,
I don't really have a comment to that either right now.
citing the pending charges against him.
I make a plea to the citizens. You guys need to keep an eye on what is going on and what is happening with your taxpayer dollars. Ms. Barnes, who is currently the mayor, was directly involved in everything that happened to Chad Hayes. Everything. And everything that happened with Matthew Furman. People, wake up.
Melvindale's mayor wouldn't say if she regrets passing up the chance to fire Furman almost a decade ago, but today, City Attorney Larry Coogan admits he'd like a do-over.
In retrospect and looking back, it would have been nice. It would have avoided a lot of litigation. Absolutely.
Seems like I was right. It makes you wonder why they didn't care 9 years ago when their police officers in their own city came forward.
Matthew Furman declined to be interviewed, but through his attorney, released a lengthy statement telling a very different story from the one you just heard. He said Furman's tows were always within the law and that he was encouraged to tow vehicles by Chad Hayes. He claimed Hayes retaliated against Furman because the chief favored a different towing company, which Hayes denies. He also said the claims of assault made against Furman in 2016 were false because they never led to criminal charges or punishment. Finally, he says attorney Larry Coogan told Furman in 2016 that he never should have been suspended by Hayes in the first place, and that he has a recording of Coogan saying Furman was being singled out and attacked. For his part, Larry Coogan said Chief Hayes faced termination not for disciplining Matthew Furman, but because he did so without formally serving him with internal charges. Hayes disputes that. You can read Furman's complete statement on our website right now at WXYZ.com. I'm Ross Jones, 7 News, Detroit.
And that, Watchdogs, is how a city turns a walking lawsuit machine into a one-man ATM until it finally blows up in their face. Former Lieutenant Furman went from towing cars to towing the whole city's credibility straight into the dumpster, while the council played cheerleader and booted the one guy, Chief Chad Hayes, who actually tried to do the right thing. Bravo, Melvindale, bravo. So if you enjoyed the circus of corruption and incompetence, and let's be real, who doesn't love watching City Hall fumble the bag? Make sure you smash that like button, subscribe to the channel, and ring the notification bell, and share this video so the word gets out. All the city's contact information is down below in the description, along with all my social media, donation links, membership link, and of course, the BZ Watchdog merch store. Because sunlight might be the best disinfectant, but it doesn't keep the lights on without your support. Remember, sunlight is still the best disinfectant. I'm your boy, BZ Watchdog. Thanks for watching. I'll see you on the next video. Stay loud, stay sarcastic, and keep those cameras rolling.
crazy watchdog.